Odoo community'ga qo'shilib, aynan Odoo jamoasiga qanday qo'shilgani haqida gaplashib, juda hayron qoldim. Chunki odatda sotuv bo'limlari shunchaki pul uchun kelib sotardi. Buni tarixi, bularning tarixi umuman butunlay boshqacha. Hozir o'zlaridan eshitamiz.
LinkedIn emas, LinkedIn. Pin that to your head.
O'shaning ichiga mos Odoo dasturimizni o'quv qo'llanmasini o'zimiz professorlaringni o'rgatib beramiz deyapti. O'rgatib berganimizdan keyin ular bemalol o'rganadi. Bu Odoo emas, u imенно biznes proseslarni o'rgatib beradi.
Universitetlar как раз tushunganlar tushunda, juda ham zo'r anaqa imkoniyat, juda ham zo'r anaqa opportunity.
O'quv markazlarida biz yetarlicha dasturlash tiliga e'tibor bergan ekanmiz-da. Avvalgi ishlash uslubimizga qaraganda 4 baravargacha tezroq va где-то 6 baravargacha arzonroq loyiha qilish imkoniyati va eng asosiysi bir 10 baravargacha baglarni kamaytirish imkoniyatini berdi. O'zimizni qora ko'zlar ham degan so'z bor. Qora ko'zlar ham yaxshiroq narsa. Ravo ko'rganimiz uchun qora ko'zlar.
Rahmat, Amon, rahmat everybody. PJ. Rahmat everybody.
Assalomu alaykum do'stlar. Bugungi podkastimiz ozgina boshqacha formatda boshlanyapti. Sizlar bilan Amon Olimov hamda
Jasbek Po'latov.
Bugungi podkastimizda biz Odoo kompaniyasini xodimlaridan biri, ya'ni education jamoasini sardori Kevin Farah bilan boshladik.
Good to see you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
How's Uzbekistan so far?
Loving it. The food, the people, the welcoming. It's great company or great country.
All right.
I'm already thinking about companies and everything.
Let me add something in English then. Kevin Farah, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's head of education department of an Oddiy company. So we're going to be talking about what he does, what he did, and what he's going to do in the future.
Yeah. I'm really excited to speak about this. First of all, I'd like to thank the Odoo partner, UIC group over here with Amon, and of course everyone in his company who is helping us or who has welcomed me to Tashkent and Uzbekistan. As I mentioned, it's been an amazing experience so far, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome. It was an honor to have you.
Given the fact that you accepted the invitation and gave it a try, it's an honor to us.
Yeah,
it's an honor.
We aren't really. Yes, we did some international projects with like other countries, but it didn't used to be on this like complex level as we're working with you guys.
Yeah. And I think that really like speaks to the nature of how Odoo works. I mentioned this to you recently, where once we feel like there is a great step forward, even down to the microscopic scale of the company, down to the department and the team. Once we like something, there's a lot of freedom to just go after it, make it work. If it works and it works well, amazing. If it doesn't, okay, we learned our lesson, we take a step back, and we plan out another route.
All right.
And luckily with our education team, we're thankfully given a lot of freedom to figure out what works and what doesn't. And what we found is that coming to the country and meeting with the partners and understanding the market here in person, it really helps to really understand how the universities function out here, how the education system functions, what works best, what doesn't, but to also put a face to the name of the education program instead of just talking about it on video calls and telling professors and deans of universities about our education program and about how we can support their universities. It helps just to have face-to-face meetings and those face-to-face workshops with their faculty, with their students. So we first saw that back in October, November, when we visited Jordan and Egypt and worked with the universities out there. Some of our best collaborations are with those two countries.
Really?
Yes. And I think what really initiated that was the education officers going there and doing the in-person workshops and having the in-person meetings and meeting with the partners there as well. We met with partners in Jordan and Egypt, and it's partners like UIC Group who have helped us initiate these collaborations, and they will bear the fruit of these partnerships in the years to come, if not months to come. So we have very similar relationships with the partners in Jordan and Egypt. So shout out to them. And I'm sure we'll have the same situation here in Uzbekistan.
You know, it's amazing that a company like Odoo that operates in such an international level. You guys are based in Dubai, I guess, right?
Yes.
It is amazing that you guys are open to initiatives working with countries like ours that are not that developed, that are not maybe do not sound that promising, like countries like maybe Jordan, Egypt, or some countries of Europe. You guys are open to going out there, getting to know the audience, the people, the market, the companies, and if you're not afraid of even wasting your time, energy, because something fruitful might come out of it.
Yeah. And, so that's a great point. And it's a really interesting subject too, because we call these, I don't believe Uzbekistan is emerging, but there are markets that we work with that we call emerging markets.
Yep.
And these are markets that are getting there. And there's so much potential in there. There are so many great minds and just hidden gems within the high schools and within the universities. And this kind of goes down to another kind of, I guess, social topic of, these students who in high schools and universities who have these bright minds, who have these great ideas, who are very innovative. Are they given the tools necessary the shot, the tools to take advantage of their knowledge and of their intellect and use it to produce something great and to go far with it? And what we're seeing a lot of is in these emerging markets that these students are given more and more tools to take advantage of in order to reach those levels, in order to create that IT company, in order to create this manufacturing business, in order to create this e-commerce business. And slowly but surely, I think within the next generation or two, you're going to see a lot of these emerging markets have a developed market because of the generation that we're in right now. And the next generations coming forward, and plus our parents' generation and those between us and them. Because, again, more businesses, more opportunities, more employment, better for the country in general, better for the education system, more universities. Like we've seen here in Tashkent, I think 50 universities since...
It's getting more.
Last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Now there's like 50 universities here in Tashkent, which is amazing.
They have been given a green light.
Yeah. And then here comes companies like ours and other companies from Japan and South Korea and so on from all around the world who are going to these universities because they understand that in these universities there are bright minds and they just need to be given the chance and the tools in order to succeed. And then you're going to see that here within our generations and future ones.
I can see how excited you are, not even talking about the future, but the way you talk about the future. You talk about the future through thinking in long-term perspectives. Thinking in long perspective means thinking about the younger generation of current times. If we're gonna nurture them, if we're gonna give them proper tools, like you said, those are the guys who are gonna build the future that we want, that we might like. And you were kind of excited talking about youngsters, schools, and I want to know, how was your educational background?
That's a good
a lot of it boils down to, it comes down to what you experienced back in your younger years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the record, I hated school.
I love something
Sure.
in Uzbek language in this point. Haqiqatda Kevin qanday qilib aynan Odoo communityga qo'shilib, aynan Odoo jamoasiga qanday qo'shilgani haqida gaplashib, juda hayron qoldim. Chunki odatda sotuv bo'limlari shunchaki pul uchun kelib sotardi. Bularning tarixi umuman butunlay boshqacha. Hozir o'zlaridan eshitamiz.
All right.
Education.
So for the record, I hated school.
Oh, really?
I hated school. And funny enough, I became a teacher. So how it happened was, well, from I mean, even my elementary school days, I redid first grade.
Which years are we talking about?
This is when you're, I think, between 7 and 11 years old.
I mean, in year 2011,
Oh,
2010,
this was,
2009.
I don't know, to be honest. I think it was like 2004.
Oh, really? Oh,
2000. Yeah, so I'm going way back. But I'll keep it brief. I mean,
oh, 2 years old, by the way.
yeah. So first grade, I actually redid it. I was very active in class. I wasn't really listening. I was bouncing off the walls, is what they would say. I wasn't really paying attention to assessments or anything like that. I mean, you wouldn't really expect much from like a first grader, but in those years, they actually watch how kids interact with other groups of kids,
All right.
and their emotional intelligence too at that point. So based on those, they will see whether or not the student can move forward in the grades. So even at that age, they will try to understand, is the student able to move up to second grade and up to third grade and up to fourth grade. I'm not sure if they have a
Such
similar
a deep level of analytics. Which school are we talking about?
Well, so I went to an American school in
really?
Dubai. Yeah, the American School of Dubai. And it was, I mean, I think that they have it in most schools where they look at the student's behavior and see, okay, are they at the same level as their peers?
All right.
And if they're not, it might be beneficial for them long term if we just held them back a year so that they can be at the same level as the students before and going, through the schooling system with them. So that's what happened with me. Anyways, again, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, I was not the best student.
He was the most energetic, probably.
Yeah, I was pretty energetic. I was kind of a troublemaker. I didn't really like school. I didn't like listening to it. The teachers, I didn't like to do my homework or anything like that. So in middle school, I really started to really not like school because I just felt like I was being trapped and I just didn't enjoy it so much. Yeah. Well, in a way, all I wanted to do was just do anything other than school, sports or anything like that.
Right.
But then in 9th grade and 10th grade, that was rock bottom. 9th grade was rock bottom. I had a 1.9 GPA out of 4 point something, right? So do you guys have that here? The grade point scale.
5 point
GPA.
5 point GPA. No, it's equal to.
It's a little different.
It's
But
different.
I get there.
Yeah. So out of a 4 point something, I had a 1.4 to 1.8, somewhere between that.
Was that a reason? Would that be a reason to expel you from the school?
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
you get expelled?
No. Because I changed it. I did a 180. Because,
really?
Yeah, so I was really good at baseball.
All right.
I loved playing baseball.
I
It's
see.
a very American sport, right? And I loved playing sports, and they took me off the sports team because of those grades. And that, in a way, just threw me off. It threw me off because I saw that, okay, no, this is having consequences on things I actually really like doing.
All right.
Yeah. And then I also felt it affecting my mental health as well throughout the process, because I felt like, wow, I'm actually failing really fast.
Yes.
So my family and I, we decided, I need to get some help with school. So my sister at the time was getting tutoring by a tutor. His name was Kareem, and
Kareem, right?
Yeah, Kareem. Yeah. He was a tutor in Dubai who would just help high school students with many different subjects, from science to
extra classes.
this is going to be after school things, right? So I would go to him after school, and he would help me with everything from math to history to language arts to science. I mean, this guy was like a godsend because he was pretty good in all these different subjects to a point where he could help you in all of them and get you at B's and A's, So it was great. So, and not only that, but he understood where I was coming from as well, because he had a very similar background as well in his schooling days. And then he just somehow managed to do a 180 and go from turning school into something he didn't like into something he actually enjoyed, right? And so he understood where I was coming from. He could relate with me. And from there, he helped me completely change the trajectory of my own education.
All right.
So, Yeah, and one of the first things he did, we spoke about was.
Got you interested in school.
Yeah, well, we sat down and he asked me, okay, what do you want? You know, like, what do you want in life?
Well, that's
Right. Let's start from like the baseline. What do you want in life? And that kind of made me think, okay, what do I really want in my life? And at that point, I wanted to become a pilot.
Right.
I actually wanted to pursue a pilot career. And then he said, okay, but if you want to pursue a pilot career, this is gonna have to change. You can't just like fail through school and then become a pilot. It doesn't work like that. And anyways, so he kind of put the world in a different perspective in a way that, you know, I can understand and he related with me on. And then from there, I was able to go from a 1.9 to like a 3.4, 3.3 GPA. And I was able to go back on the sports team. Yeah. So then I realized that how much he had helped me. And then I gained an appreciation for education. Then I gained an appreciation for educators, because he not only helped me in school, but he helped me with a variety of other things. I mean, the starting point was, man, you're failing school. But then it was like, okay, but what else is going on? Like, you want to play sports, right? You got to fix that. You know, if you want to, he also helped me in like confidence as well, and like social, the social part of my life and all this. So yeah, I think it had a domino effect, because when you're failing in school, it kind of takes a hit on your confidence and what you feel like you can do in life and this and that. So the whole mentality changed around not just school, but around life in general. So yeah, that's when I got that respect for an educator, because I realized that they not only have an impact on what you learn, but your whole life. Yeah.
From that, had he not seen that you could change, he would have failed miserably back then. And God only knows who you would become.
Yeah, I would have struggled. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if, to be honest, I don't know if I could have actually gotten through those years in high school, in those classes, without that type of like guidance, you know? So, because
that's the key word.
Yeah, at that point, I didn't know how to organize myself. I didn't know really how to do homework efficiently. I didn't know how to like, do time management, prioritize. So that's why I said it was like a godsend, because it was like, you know, someone who could really help me in a lot of those ways. Yeah.
So you felt like there is a potential in those young guys, because some guy could see that in me.
Yeah.
And I can see that in them as well.
Yeah.
So let's focus on them. Your mindset changed to something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That's great.
Yeah.
Qarang, yana nima ham ekanda, bitta odam birovni hayotini shunchalik o'zgartirib yuborishi ham mumkin. Bu o'sish bu qisqa davr davomida o'qituvchilardan aytaylik, bitta o'qituvchini deb nechta o'quvchilarning hayoti o'zgarib ketishi mumkin. Bu o'qituvchilar uchun juda ham mas'uliyatli kasb.
Shuning uchun shu joyda o'qituvchilarga va o'quvchilarga gap, qaysidir o'quvchi yoki qaysidir tengdoshilar, kursdoshilar, sinfdoshilar bu odam bo'lmaydi, bu ikkichi, bu lashara, bu anaqa betayin deb umid uzib qo'ymanglar. Как раз ana shu betayin odamda dunyoni o'zgartiruvchi kuch bo'lishi mumkin. Xuddi shunaqa ustozlar ham shu narsani ko'ra oladi. Podдержка qilinglar, yordam beringlar. Balkim O'zbekistondan ham qanaqadir buyuk odamlar chiqar. Qachondirlar chiqqan
xohlasa.
Xudo xohlasa.
Da, aynan unaqa odamlarga kalit kerak. Hamma odamni qalbini o'zini kaliti bo'lgandaki, kimdir uni motivatorimi yoki nastavniki bo'la oladi va shunaqa odamni vaqti kelgan. Xullas, birovning hayotini shuncha darajada qisqa vaqtda o'zgartirish mumkin va hozir ko'rasizlar, hali yana voqeani davom etib beradilar. Buni ketidan va qayerga qarab ketyapti bularning hayoti. Imенно shu odamning ta'siri bilan bularning hayoti o'zgarib ketganligini yana aytib beradilar hali.
All right, school. Fast forward. You got excited about youngsters. You changed. There was a mind shift.
Yeah.
In you. Fast forward like 2-3 years, university years. Where did you study?
I studied at the University of Colorado.
All right. Well, which, I mean, faculty or whatever, sphere, direction?
Yeah, so I was in the School of Education, where I was studying to become a teacher.
All right.
And then I got a degree in history. So that's where all the history knowledge comes from.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about history on the way here.
Yeah.
Why history?
I love history. My dad loves history.
All right.
He was very passionate about it.
Was he a historian?
No. but he could have been easily.
He was good at it.
When he talks about history, you don't want to stop listening.
All right.
Yeah, it's one of those people, right? He just knows so much about certain things, and randomly about everything, like in relation to history. And when he talks about it, he keeps you interested and pulled in the entire time. And you constantly want to know what's gonna happen, and how did that happen, and somehow he has an answer for that. So he came from a very historical place in the world. So he grew up in South Lebanon.
All right.
Yeah. And there, right next to Tyre, you know the city Tyre? Sidon.
Yes, I do.
Right?
I do.
So these are cities from ancient times.
Yeah.
Anyways, the area he grew up in, every hilltop has archaeology.
Yes.
Literally every hilltop
There's
has
a lot of culture and history behind those places.
Tons. So even when they were walking to school, him and his brothers would find coins on the ground in the dirt. They'd pick it up, rub it off, put some water, and see Alexander the Great on it. Greek writing, Greek owl on it. You know, the Crusader coins, Byzantine Empire coins, Roman, Phoenician.
Like epicenter of different cultures.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that a city that located the second that anonmedi?
Levantda.
Jang bo'ladigan joy nima edi? O'tgan gal gaplashganimiz.
Qaysi?
Rimda borri, kopiyasi borri, o'sha davlatda aytyaptimi?
Yo'q, emas.
Okay.
What is this one?
No, don't worry.
Okay.
Just forget it.
You have watched the movie Gladiator, right?
Yeah.
You've seen Coliseum.
Coliseum.
Yeah,
Right.
that's Rome, right? We're talking
Do you know how many Coliseums are there in the world?
I don't know.
What do you think?
Probably hundreds.
Nah, come on.
Hundreds.
Be realistic.
Well, originally.
Don't try to guess.
What is it? Higher or lower?
You're trying to guess right now.
Yeah, I am trying to guess. Yeah. Because they were prominent throughout the Roman Empire.
Yeah. Now, Coliseum is a name.
So are we talking about the Colosseums?
Did I pronounce it wrongly?
No. I mean, it's in English we call them Colosseum.
All right.
But
Sorry.
is it the area or the structure where the people meet in the middle and they fight?
Yeah. The place.
Yeah.
Well, turns out I didn't know that either. There is exactly the same place that is called the same.
Okay.
That is located in Tunis.
In Tunis. Oh, I thought you were asking how many there are in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the movie Gladiator was actually filmed there.
Wow.
Because the costs of production and stuff like that were getting too expensive in the Rome.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that place is exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has tons of Roman architecture and archaeology.
Yeah.
That's in some ways like as kept as the ones you find in Rome. Yeah. You know, in Tunis, there's the city Tunis used to be called Carthage, and
I don't know.
it was actually founded by people that came from Lebanon.
Really?
Yeah. The Phoenicians. So the Phoenicians were seafaring people, merchants.
All right.
They were the ones who always built the large ships out of cedar trees in Lebanon, and they dominated the Mediterranean with their navy and their trade on the sea, and they actually founded Tunis as a port city, and it was originally called Carthage.
Really?
So yeah, Lebanese and Tunisians are essentially cousins.
All right. Like Turks. Like, you know how Istanbul used to be called before it became Istanbul?
Constantinople.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you realize how deep and mixed their culture is. It used to be the center of Byzantium. I don't know how to say that in English.
Byzantium.
The Roman Empire,
English, right?
Yeah. It was like an extension of the Roman Empire.
Yes.
And so in my hometown, my dad and his brothers, my uncles, would be walking to school and they would find Byzantine coins on the ground. Byzantine. We have a full jar collection of them. Thankfully, you know, they're well kept and they're beautiful coins to look at. I mean,
a lot of history.
A lot of history. I mean, in Constantinople, I was just on.
And then Constantinople became the center of the another great empire, Ottoman Empire.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that is literally the definition of a crossroads in the world. Yeah. There is this really interesting picture that you should see if you're into history. Where
can we look that up?
Yeah, of course.
How's it
I
called?
really don't know what you would look up in order to find it. but there is a building in Istanbul. It's like something with the name of Fatih, like Fatih.
Oh,
Okay. And at the bottom of the structure are Roman columns. Okay, it's basically holding up the entire structure, the entire apartment building. Above that are Byzantine arcs built in the Byzantine Empire. So you had Roman, and then they built on top of the Roman, the Byzantine. And then on top of that was the Ottoman Empire.
Aren't you talking about that mosque?
No. That's a Hagia Sophia. This is what I'm talking about is just a random apartment building.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So they took a snapshot of this building from the side.
All right.
And on the side, you can see the Roman columns at the bottom. All right. Supporting the rest of the building. And the rest of the building is made up of Byzantine architecture,
then the
Ottoman architecture, and then post-World War II architecture. And
Those architects collaborated there?
Yeah, those are like the people who lived there over generations.
Yes.
Built on top of each other. Yeah. And so now the family that lives there lives in this post-World War II apartment that is on top of Roman, on top of Byzantine, on top of Ottoman.
We're talking about centuries here.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. It's very interesting. So, yeah, I mean, kind of going back to...
Actually,
go
we
ahead.
wanted to talk about future, and we started from history.
Yeah, exactly. Not the Roman
And
Empire.
we're going to be talk to future also.
What would be really interesting is to talk about how they did business in the past, in ancient times. You know, it's just, I would love to hear kind of like what, or if you know about it, how they did business in ancient times in this region. I mean, what were the main industries here?
Here, well, as you know, Uzbekistan. I mean, this territory used to be in the main part of like Silk Way.
Yeah, the
Great
Silk Road.
Silk Road.
Yeah, I was obsessed with the Silk Road when I was learning history.
The city Samarkand.
Yeah,
Did you go there?
Not
Did you
yet.
visit there?
Not yet.
Well, you got it.
I'm going in a couple of days.
Yeah, actually, there was a lot of trade. A lot of different types of trades. You know, a lot of cultures. China, Europe, and etc. I'm not really good at details of those times and what kinds of trades were there, but I know that it was very, fruitful.
Yeah. I was obsessed with the Silk Road. I mean, everything about it was so interesting.
Yeah.
Even the stories about Marco Polo, traveling
Yeah.
on it. The fact that you can take something from China and even further east,
Yeah, and get it to Europe.
bring it all the way to Venice. And then all of a sudden they meet in the middle and the caravan's going this way or meeting up with the caravans going this way.
By the way, you know that, I mean, right now, all universities, but primarily Western universities, they wear capes at the graduation and those hats.
Yeah, that's from Venice?
Do you know where they come from?
No, I don't.
Actually, as you know, there was a rise of Islam and Muslim culture. There were a lot of Muslim scholars. The guy named Al-Khwarizmi, he actually gave his start to algebra, algorithms. He created algorithms, by the way. All we do now, the backbone of mathematics is owing to that guy. So when scientists and scholars from Europe used to visit Silk Road and regions and places of this area, they of course used to exchange some knowledge, and of course scholars of these areas, they were very good at what they do. And what does that head represent? Its form is like this, right? Square, and it represents Quran.
Oh, interesting.
And
Really?
all scholars used to wear like those coats, you know, those long things. And the coats and things that our graduate students wear are inspired from that.
That's interesting.
Jasurni yaqindan taniyapman. Jasurni yangi.
He's saying he's getting to know me.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, that's
How did you learn that?
I've read that somewhere.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really remember the exact words.
Yeah.
Maybe it is wrong, but it makes sense.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, it's very interesting because a lot of things in academia came out of the Middle East and Central Asia, specifically through Islamic culture.
Yes.
And we see that a lot in astronomy as well. Astronomy, mathematics, science in general. And I think now today that is starting to be brought to light more.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of clarity and just clarification is being
More
brought to that. Yeah, more acknowledgement exactly is being brought over to that, which is great. And it's really
I don't know
interesting.
where did we turn wrong, but after some point, it all went nuts.
Yeah.
No like openings, no interesting no movement in scientific area. It became wars and like government wars and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like sons kill their parents, like cousins fight for throne and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be great when Islam just right, whatever. Let's move on from that.
Yep.
So when I decided to start history, I actually didn't know what to study.
All right.
So I was actually studying international relations.
All right. History, international relations makes sense.
Exactly. It's basically political science.
Yes.
So I went into university with political science. I actually wanted to take a year or two to just experience.
It's called politology, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. That might be a different word for it.
Right.
But
right.
in the US, we just say political science
Right.
or international affairs.
All right.
I just want to take a year or two off just to see where I might be interested in working,
All right.
industry I might be interested in working, which is actually something I recommend for students today, after high school, is just to take some time after high school. There's no rush, literally no rush. I have friends who are graduating university at 28 and friends who are graduating university at 22. And everyone's on their own path and everyone lands in a different place, but you're always in the right place at the right time.
You're not St. Louis, right?
Sorry?
St. Louis in USA. There's a Webster University.
Okay.
St. Louis.
City.
St. Louis City, I guess.
Yes.
St. Louis. St. Louis.
Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry for
no
my
worries.
grammar.
No. Okay.
All right. My friend studies there.
Yeah.
And she says the oldest students who studies with them,
Grandparents.
60-some years
Yeah,
old.
exactly.
And they're graduating.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah. And they're just getting their undergraduate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it breaks a lot of stereotypes about
Big
you
time.
don't hurry up. You gotta get the degree. You gotta get to the university.
Exactly.
No, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't rush.
But that might be a little too long.
Yeah. I mean,
You might miss a few boats at that point. Well, I know what you mean.
that's true. That's
Yeah. I had people who were 60, 70 years old in my classes as
Alright.
well. And it was interesting. Actually, our university would give them free classes.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was just nice because if they retire, they can continue learning. And they offered a lot of insight in the classes because they would be part of discussions. So they would be part of a discussion with a 19-year-old kid who knows nothing. And, with 80-year-old.
I've seen a lot.
Yeah, who have seen a lot. They have tons of knowledge. I wanted to take a year off, but my parents recommend I just jump straight into university. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do the first thing that comes to my mind, international relations. And then a year or two after that, I was like, okay, I want to become a teacher. Because then I thought about what really matters to me. And at that point, I wanted to have impact on people. Yeah, like exactly. And one of the biggest ways someone had an impact on me was through education, because it literally had a domino effect on the rest of my life and in other areas of my life. So yeah, that's when I decided to become a teacher. And I graduated in 2019 with a teaching license from the University of Colorado, as well as a history degree. Yeah.
Did you teach actually somewhere?
I did. I taught in Colorado.
The university itself.
No. So in our program, we were able to work with different schools in the surrounding town and in the surrounding districts that allowed us to teach in their classes. So I taught middle school, high school, but not for too long, just a semester at a time in each school. And then I came to a point where I realized how I really felt about teaching in my last year, actually, the last semester right before I got my teaching license, because that was the year where it was my class from day 1 to day 180, right? And I realized teaching wasn't for me, which is a terrible thing to realize after 4 years of studying something.
We gave it so much effort and energy.
But that's why now looking back, right, hindsight 2020, is what they call it when you can see so clear in the past.
Yeah.
What I would have done is I would have tried teaching before I actually got a degree in it. You see what I mean?
So that you could have gotten another degree.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been
or I could have studied something else. But at the end of the day, what's funny is that I think you can get a degree in anything and pursue anything.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll give you some examples. So we have people in our company at Odoo. They are fantastic at what they do. Sales, partnerships,
All right.
Consultants, marketing, human resources.
All right.
If you ask what they studied, 99% of the time, it's not that position. You know what I mean? But they're crushing it. But they're absolutely crushing it. We have one person. This is the most extreme example, and it's actually a very good example, I think. But we have one person in our company who he used to be a functional consultant on the Odoo platform.
Functional consultant.
Functional consultant.
Right.
So a functional consultant is someone who will onboard the company to the Odoo software who purchased an Odoo subscription.
How it works and
so for example, if you have a supermarket and you are using whatever system you have right now, but then you switch over to Odoo, I, as a functional consultant, will help you transfer and migrate all of your operations and all of your information onto the Odoo software so that you and your team can start using it. Yeah. Now, he went from that to a videographer in the company.
Dang.
And what did he study? Engineering, I'm pretty sure. But something along those lines. Engineering.
Bizda ham shunaqa-yu, hamma narsani sinab ko'raveramiz qiziqqanimizga.
Same thing about you.
Bizda ham
Almost the same thing. You began as a, I don't know, athlete, you know, and got into teaching, got interested in history. In some way, you end up doing in a tech. You end up working in a tech world.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Sure. The transition was, I would say, it was a difficult transfer from careers, right? Because if you spend 4 years getting a degree,
I think that you will like it. That's
to be honest, I got my degree in history, so I enjoyed my time actually learning, and I enjoyed my time in university. But if I could go back and do it again, I would learn business. I would actually get a degree in business, because I think it's a very universal degree, and I think it helps you in a lot of facets in life, prepares you in a lot of ways, and yeah, I think it's an overall well-rounded degree that I personally would have just gone for, because I can learn history on my own time. It's actually a hobby of mine to learn history. Wherever I go, I learn about the places I go, and I pick up books. I read a lot about history in general. So I think it would have been nice to just get a business degree or an education in business.
We'll talk about that as well.
Sure.
I have questions.
Sure. So after I stopped teaching, that was in 2020, I got my teaching license from the university. And that was a tough time, because I realized I didn't like teaching, as I mentioned, and you feel this pressure to just continue on with it even though you hate it. In the teaching community, they say you're going to hate the first 3 years of your job, and then it gets easier after that, because the first 3 years is when you start. The first 3 years is when you start building the lesson plans, building your character as a teacher, or the content that you're going to be teaching, right? So I was like, no way, I'm not going to hate my job for the next 3 years with the high potential of hating my job for the rest of my life. So, and there's that sunken cost feeling. You guys do you know about the sunken cost fallacy?
Talk about that.
Okay. So the sunken cost fallacy is, say you have a project, right? And you've been working on this project day and night. You've put in tons of money into it. You put in tons of resources towards it. You put in tons of time towards it. Now, you've gone to certain spots in the process where it's not working, it's actually failing. But because you put in so much time, so much effort, and so much money into it, you feel this pressure in the back of your mind saying, I have to continue on with it. Otherwise, all of that time, all of that effort, all of that money was a waste. So that's the sunken cost fallacy. Right. And the reason why it's a fallacy is because it's just like, you're going to continue putting money into something
That's not gonna work out.
That might not work out.
Yeah.
It's like watering a dead plant.
Yeah, exactly. So
You lose more.
yeah, exactly. And so you think you should continue with it because you put in so much effort, even though the writing on the wall is telling you it's failing.
Yeah.
So for me, it was the writing on the wall was I hate. Well,
History and teaching.
Hate is a strong word, but I disliked teaching.
All right.
The job of teaching, but the feeling was that I put in so much time, effort, and money into it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So after that, 2020 came around, and I moved back to Dubai to try to find a job, and I actually found a teaching job in Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, that was a godsend, because when COVID hit, my contract was terminated because they didn't need teachers anymore. So I fell for the fell for the sunken cost feeling. I fell for it because I felt the pressure of continuing to teach, even though I didn't like it. Right. So that's when I got the contract to go to Kuwait. And then 2020 hit, it gets canceled, and then at that point, my sister started an e-commerce business.
All right.
And this is now where the transition began, because I wanted to have some experience. I just didn't want to sit on the couch and do nothing. So
What was it called?
Well, it developed into something that was called the Tile and Wrap Society.
Tile and Wrap Society?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But when it first started, I can't remember what the name was.
All right.
But what they did was they imported peel and stick tiles, and promoted it as a product, a fast renovation solution for homeowners or renters.
All right.
All you did was you peel the tiles and you just basically stick it to the backsplash of your kitchen or your bathroom, and it looked like real tiles. But they were actually, they're false, and they're just peel and stick, right? So
I got it.
the business was doing really well, and I was helping out with the e-commerce part, and then I started to get this feeling, this spark in me, like, wow, I actually really like business. You know, I like talking to vendors. I like talking to customers.
You like pitching.
Yeah. But that didn't come until later down the line, like a couple months later, as we started providing these tiles to customers in Dubai. They started asking us, do you also do interior wrapping?
All right.
And then we were like, what is interior wrapping? And we looked it up, and there was only one company at the time doing it.
In Dubai. In Kuwait?
No, in Dubai.
All right.
In Dubai.
All right.
The contract for Kuwait was for teaching, but I was living in Dubai at the time. I might sneeze here in a second, by the way, but just a heads up.
No problem.
No, it's not coming now, but
Make yourself at home. Make yourself at home.
thank you. So, interior wrapping, that's where the idea for this business came from, and that was actually the business that I started, was interior wrapping. And it all began when people in Dubai started asking my sister's company if they do interior wrapping. And so we had to research it and figure it out, because so many people were asking us about it that we wanted to supply that demand.
All right.
We wanted to learn about it and provide it as a service. So essentially what it is you have architectural vinyl. It's actually, it's a PVC. You know PVC?
No.
Petroleum. I honestly forget the full. Yeah, that would be amazing. So it's PVC material that can mimic the feeling of real wood, real stone.
Nothing?
Painted finishes. Yeah, but what does the definition say?
All right. Polyvinyl chloride.
Yeah, okay. So it was that type of compound or I would say material.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, it was a great solution because it provided people the ability to renovate their spaces without
And it was cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap. Without gutting their interior. What do you mean by gutting? Is just like taking everything out and replacing it. So it was mess free, it was cost effective, and it was very time efficient. And so this is how we used to sell people on the product. And it's a great product. I actually have it installed on my countertop. You know, don't tell my landlord. But so it's a really nice product that provides you with, like, for example, this finish right here, we can feel the wood grain and it looks like real wood. But actually this is a PVC as well, right? It's a lamination. And so the material we installed would do the same for your kitchen cabinets and your countertops.
All right.
So we adopted that business, and I became sales for it. I would go door-to-door sales, and I loved that job. It was a roller coaster, right? But I loved it, and I loved the feeling of building something new and building a business. I was just doing business development, getting new clients, thinking of new marketing strategies. I was also managing projects. I was in some ways also helping out in parts with installation, but mostly I was just selling jobs and procuring or providing the amount of material that we would need to procure.
You know,
right?
what I notice is, what is sales? Sales is about storytelling and communicating.
Yeah.
And what did you study? You studied history.
Yeah.
You got
Storytelling.
You got good at storytelling, and you even if you didn't like it, you got the skills of teaching, meaning you got good at communicating with people. Because to communicate, to teach, you gotta communicate, meaning you got prerequisites of sales, even if you didn't like them.
Yeah, and that's actually something I realized after my teaching career was all the positives that actually came out of that path.
And you were, that's why.
Yeah, and it helped me with public speaking as well, because a lot of times, I mean, when you're a teacher, you're teaching more than 10, 15 people at a time. And in a lot of ways, those are students who sometimes don't care. You have to really pull them in. So you have to be patient. You have to be, consider, okay, how can I get their attention? So, there were definitely a lot of positives that came through that experience. And it's funny because everything kind of fell into place perfectly. Right? And it gets even crazier after that. So when I was working with my sister, I just felt this urge to start my own business.
All right, and that's the American dream.
Yeah, now this is where the American dream comes in, which is a whole hour. So I had a very, very good friend. I would even consider him like a brother of mine, who I grew up with in Dubai. Those types of people? His name's Charlie. You know those type of people who you're always on the same wavelength?
All right.
You're always, for some reason, like you're
vibe the same.
Yeah, but your worlds apart, like they have their own life, you have your own life, but once in a while when you connect and you communicate, somehow you're both thinking the exact same, you know what I mean?
And you enjoy the conversation
so much. It's like you just pick up where you left off. As if you met
him or her yesterday.
Correct, exactly. So that's how that friendship was. And he was in the army at the time, in the US, and I was kind of feeling
US Navy?
No, Army.
US Army. All right.
And at the time I was in Dubai with my sister's company, and again I felt this sudden urge to just start my own thing because I did feel trapped. I wanted to just not be an employee and just do something on my own. So I reached out to him and I told him, hey, if you're interested, I have this really good business idea. And it was blowing up in Dubai. It was just growing exponentially. The popularity of it. Today, there are 50 companies in Dubai that do interior wrapping. When we started, it was 3.
Basically, no.
Yeah. And that was 2020 and 2021.
Quite recent.
Yeah, exactly. So, actually, my friend who helped us start the business, that my sister's company, he actually works at Odoo now.
Really?
Yeah. He works in sales at Odoo.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we work together. So we went from the Talent Rap Society to both working at Odoo.
How you become a team member of Odoo from your own business?
From my own business.
Yeah.
Sure. So when I spent 2 years trying to get our business in Seattle, in America, started because I'll just kind of fast forward that process. Charlie said, yes, let's do it. I was like, great. I'm going to move to Washington State, to Seattle, and we're going to start it. We're going to get it going.
All right.
Now, it didn't pan out the way we expected.
All right.
He's continuing with the company, and I decided after 2 years that I'm going to go back to Dubai and pursue another career.
Get employed.
Another path. Yeah, exactly. Get employed. Because the self-employment life was very difficult. And I mentioned the type of company that we had was a renovation company. So many moving parts. You had so much overhead. It was just a very difficult business to manage, and I don't think that we were at the professional maturity and business mature level to handle something like that. You know, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I decided to go back to Dubai, and this was 2023. So last year in March, I got back to Dubai, my backpack and suitcase, and I just walked into my parents' house like, I'm here, you know, like, let's figure it out. Figure it out, but don't worry. So, I was spamming LinkedIn, spamming sales, business development, everything, marketing, human resources, because I had experience in each one of these areas in the past 2 years of doing my own business. I felt like I could just go into anything. I just needed a shot to do anything, right? And like when you have your own business, I mean, you understand your marketing, your human resources, your sales, your literally everything. Yeah. And so it can be taxing, but at the same time, it gives you so much valuable experience. So
it makes you valuable.
Yeah. And now when I was spamming LinkedIn, I was just doing anything that might come my way. I was ready to jump at literally anything. Then all of a sudden, within 3 weeks of me just feeling like, oh, what am I going to do? What's going to happen?
Devastation.
All of a sudden, this position pops up on LinkedIn that said education officer. Or actually, the first position I found from Odoo was a sales rep. So I was actually going to go into sales. I was actually going to go into the direct sales team. That was the position I had the interview for initially.
At that time, you didn't know what is Odoo, right?
I had no idea what Odoo was. No idea.
Hop. Hozir Kevin gaplarini eshitgan bo'lsanglar, endi LinkedInni spam qilib tashladim dedi. Bizda ko'pchilik, tim более tech sferada yashaydigan, ishlaydigan odamlar yashaydigan, в принципе, LinkedInni yaxshi tushunish kerak, yaxshi bilish kerak. Juda ham ko'p opportunitylar, imkoniyatlar, job opportunitylar, qanaqadir internship opportunitylar LinkedIndan keladi. LinkedInda registratsiya qilinglar, ishlatishni o'rganinglar, portfoliolarni to'g'rilaylar va LinkedIndan foydalaninglar. LinkedIn emas. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's continue.
All right.
Yep.
So when I was searching for the jobs, I found a sales position. At Odoo. I applied for it, and they gave me a call. And when I had the call, or before I had the call, I was actually scrolling through all the other job positions at Odoo in Dubai, and I saw education officer, and I was like, okay. If there's a job that I know I'm going to get, it's that one.
All right.
But if there's a job that I might get and I might not like, it's a sales job.
All right.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to tell them I want the education officer role after I have the phone call about the sales. So we had the call about sales, and I told her, listen, I'm actually more interested to pursue the education officer role. And she said, okay, why is that? And I said, I have teaching experience and I have business experience. You guys are a business management software and you need someone to teach it.
All right.
And then I was like, I'm your guy. So I was so adamant about it. I was willing to just rock up to their company and give them my CV right then and there and just do the interview. I was really hungry just to start working. Yep. So I was going to do whatever I could to get the job. So anyways, we went through the interview process. But before I go down that path, I want to talk about my experience having my own company and why Odoo attracted me. So when I had my own company, I actually, when we started it, I had no idea what a CRM even was. No idea what a CRM was. Because I studied teaching. I studied history, right? I didn't study business. Now, this is why I would have wanted to study business, because I would have learned these sorts of things before going into this world. And this is why I believe so much in the education programs, because what I feel like what we're teaching is very practical for your real life as a university student, and will be very relevant to your life after you graduate. So when I started my business, I had no idea what a CRM was. I had no idea what a human resources information system looked like. I had no idea what an accounting system looked like, what it included. I had no idea how marketing softwares work. It was my first time ever creating a website.
And
Right?
Odoo did it all.
Well, I didn't know about Odoo. I didn't know about Odoo. When I first started my business, we decided to choose SalesMate for our CRM. It's like Salesforce. In the US, it's almost as popular as Salesforce.
All right.
Yeah.
For my CRM, we decided to do SalesMate, and then for QuickBooks or accounting, we decided to do QuickBooks, and then for our website, we did Wix.com.
All right.
For our communication between the teams, like we had different projects in different areas of the city going on simultaneously. So with each team, we had a different group chat in an application called Volley. Okay, so we had to purchase a subscription for Volley.
All right.
Right? So without going into too many more details, we had all of these softwares that we structure our business on. So our business was operating on all these different softwares that didn't speak to each other.
All right.
So when something happened on our website, it didn't automatically get updated in our CRM. We would have to take that information manually and create an opportunity on our CRM to keep track of that lead. And then if that customer purchased the product, it wouldn't automatically I after creating the opportunity on my CRM, then label that opportunity as one, and the payment has gone through on the CRM, it wouldn't automatically open up on
That's very exhausting.
QuickBooks. So ultimately what happened was I dealt with a lot of double entries. When a transaction would go through, I would have to go into CRM and label it as it's one, and I would have to update things left, right, and center. But it would have helped if I had all of my software
At one place.
Yeah, exactly. All my softwares on just one software. All my operations on just one. And I only realized that was a reality once I actually found Odoo. And once I applied to Odoo. So during that process of having all those different softwares managing our system or managing our business, we were spending $120 per user for like 5 or 6 applications.
And how many users were
for
there?
like 5 or 6 softwares. So for our CRM, our accounting system, our website, our channel system where we had communications, and these, I was spending $120 per user. So it was about $700 a month for 7 users.
No.
So
there are no integration among
zero
them.
integration.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So like, for example, if someone purchased something off our website, it wouldn't automatically show up in our inventory, right? So anyways, now that as a startup takes a hit on you financially, because you're putting every penny you have into that company. So every penny you can save matters when you're doing a startup.
Yeah.
And when you're spending $120 versus $20 for everything, it is a world of a difference. Not even to mention how efficient your business would become if all of those processes and operations were hosted on just one software that consolidated all of your data. So you don't have to search for data here. You don't have to search for data here. The invoices are there, but the purchasing receipts are here, and the transactions are showing up on QuickBooks, and nothing's together. But Odoo, what I realized after I learned it was everything was just there. If you needed the invoice, you just literally click on the next application.
All right.
If you needed the vendor bill, if you needed the transaction history of a certain product, it's right there. Communication with your team members, with your vendors, with your clients there. So when I first joined Odoo, that's actually, or when I first found out about Odoo, when I started the interview process, I had to learn about it. And as I learned about it, I couldn't believe that there was something like this that I could have gotten for my business. And that's not just me because I'm wearing the Odoo shirt. That's not just me because I work at Odoo. But I literally was like,
that was
it was like a funny trick that the universe played on me. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, wow, I mean, you couldn't have just shown this to me earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah. Like this had to show up now, like after I stopped my business. And that really excited me because I think one thing, if you're ever going to work for a company, you have to love what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's
you're gonna have to commit.
Yeah. And you know, it's like anything, you know, you have to love it. You have to really love it. You have to have a passion for it. And I developed a passion for business, and I do have a passion for teaching, but I just didn't like how the teaching career was set up. I didn't like that stagnant feeling of being a teacher. And of course, there are many teachers in this world whose jobs are not like that. It was just me personally. So I do want to like put that on the record that there are teachers who have a very exciting job and they make it exciting. I just didn't know how to do that.
All right.
But I do feel that when I go and teach university classes and high school classes, teaching ERP and teaching business, it feels better than teaching something else, because I know that it's going to have a direct impact on their life. And why? Because I always tell students two things. You're either, and I love to tell students why what we're learning is important, right? Because otherwise it's just going to be like, oh, okay, let's just get this over and done with. No, why do you need to pay attention? For two reasons. Either you are going to start your own business.
All right.
Right? And in that case, you're in the boat I was in. If I knew about CRMs and I knew about accounting systems, I knew about human resource systems, and I knew about ERP systems, it would have put me way above anyone else starting a business who didn't know about those softwares. And it would have helped me immensely, saving money and saving time and efficiency in my company. Who knows, maybe I would have been able to manage projects better. Maybe I would have been able to, meet client expectations because I didn't lose data and I didn't lose their measurements and their information about their project so easily. What else? I mean, going back to what I was saying, either the student is going to become an entrepreneur, in which case ERP knowledge and software management knowledge or business management knowledge would help them directly in their own venture with money and time.
Yeah.
Or they're going to start working in a company and actually learn, it's called an intrapreneur.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So someone who works in a company. And that is going to play a massive role, just knowing about ERP systems.
Yeah.
Because what we're seeing today in the Middle East region, which I think can be also a direct correlate, or it can be the same in other regions as well. But in the Middle East region, what we're seeing is that 50% of companies are adopting ERP systems.
If they're big.
Even small to medium-sized enterprises.
Oh, really?
Even small to medium-sized, even the supermarket down the road, the tire shop down the road, all the way to companies like KPMG or large-scale development companies that have hundreds of building developments around the city.
I mean, the bigger the company is, the more complex the system has to be.
Sure. And Odoo is able to support that, luckily.
From simple to complicated.
Exactly. Because with larger companies, more complex processes and operations, you're going to need something that can withstand that heat.
And Odoo does support both of them.
Sorry?
And Odoo supports...
and give a solution to
small business. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So, now, when... why it's important for a student to learn ERP, not just Odoo, but ERP in general, if you're going into a company, is because right now, since ERP is growing in demand, we need to supply that demand, right? So now this is where Odoo partners are coming in. And Odoo partners are companies who can sell and implement the Odoo software. And they are meeting that demand. And in order to meet that demand, they need to be able
to understand.
Yeah. And in order to have people who understand that, they need to have people who
education
understand. Yeah. Well, they need to have people who understand the Odoo software.
Yeah.
In order to sell it, in order to implement it, in order to develop it in the back end. Right. And this is one of the initiatives that we're doing currently in the education program, which is really exciting. We have something called the Class to Career program.
Class to Career?
Yeah. Class to Career program, where we are providing students the ability to learn the Odoo software and then get a direct access to employment opportunities at Odoo partners who are growing and expanding in their regions.
Yeah. So you're like partners like us, like UIC, are becoming your Odoo partners.
Yeah.
Who are serving as a bridge to local markets.
Yeah.
And you guys are simultaneously nurturing a generation of guys who can work in those partner companies.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I like the word nurturing. It's like,
Yeah.
exactly. We're encouraging the knowledge of ERP systems. For universities, it's fantastic because it's beneficial for their employment rate of their students. For Odoo partners, it's amazing because you're getting Odoo resources, is what we would call people who understand the Odoo software. You're receiving candidate pools of Odoo resources who have a high level of Odoo proficiency and knowledge.
Professional Odoo proficiency.
Yeah,
Not
exactly,
self-taught.
Exactly, not self-taught. Because now, how do they get to that level? It's through something called the Odoo course. Now, the Odoo course is a high-level, university-level ERP course that a university can just adopt and plug into their syllabus, providing students with a deep level of ERP knowledge and proficiency by using the Odoo software.
All right.
Yeah. And what it does is it takes the students on a journey across 8 different chapters that focus on different business subjects.
What are those?
So we have accounting, inventory management. I'm probably not going to name all of them off the top of my head, but I can name a few. Accounting, inventory management, sales and purchase, CRM, human resources, manufacturing, and so on. So there's like
we will put here 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's 2 more. Now what it does is it provides the students with theory on those business subjects.
All right.
So before understanding how human resource systems operate, you need to understand the terminology that goes into human resources, right?
Yep.
So that course teaches students or provides them with the theory necessary in order to understand those business processes and operations and departments. Same thing for accounting, inventory management, and so on. Then after the students go through the theory, they're presented with the practical application of that theory into an ERP system.
So let me like turn into something simple.
Sure.
First, you learn alphabet, you learn ABC, and then you learn to create words and then sentences. Analogically, you first you teach what are terminologies like rules and stuff like that, and you teach them how to use those rules.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like the analogy, honestly. We teach them the letters.
Yeah.
Then we show them how the words can be set up.
Yep. And that's
And then afterwards, we have them write books, basically.
Sentences,
Yeah, exactly.
paragraphs, texts,
Put it to use.
etc.
Put what you learn to use. So, and how do we do that? We give them databases where they can have practice on the software. So these databases are educational databases. The students can download as many applications as they would like. They can download as many databases as they would like. And they have full admin access to these databases, meaning that if I'm a student and I download that database, it's as if I am the owner of a business operating an ERP system, and that ERP system only belongs to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Education databases are valid for 2 years. So if a university is interested in adopting these databases for their students for educational purposes, they can always just contact us, and it's as easy as, hey, we'd like to, use this in our classes. We have the conversation of, okay, which classes are you thinking about using it in, so that we can then tailor workshops for those classes.
You might have a lot of success in that sphere because, as Amanaka said, Aka brother. Like we refer to someone who's older and someone with whom we have brotherly relation. We refer to as Aka.
Okay.
Right. So that's why I'm saying Amanaka, so that you will know later.
Okay.
Right. You might have a lot of success because a lot of universities are opening, and the ones that we had prior to them are getting open to more opportunities and like initiatives. And the projects and programs if you market them properly into local universities, you might have a lot of success in integrating them to schedules and syllabuses. Universitetlar как раз tushunganlar tushundi. Juda ham zo'r anaqa imkoniyat, juda ham zo'r anaqa opportunity. Syllabuslarga qattiq bir kerak fanlarni o'rgatgandan ko'ra, studentlar foydalanib, как раз таки marketda ishlarni pul olib kela oladigan proyektlar, qanaqadir foydasi tegadigan proyektlar qila olishni o'rganadigan sistemani o'rgatishga tayyor bo'ladi va o'shani shunchaki self-study emas, taxminan emas, professional darajada o'rgata olishadi.
Ya'ni bular nima qilishyapti? Mana bir nechta universitetlarga bordik, ularga nima fanlaring bor, o'shani ichiga mos Odoo dasturimizni o'quv qo'llanmasini o'zimiz professorlaringni o'rgatib beramiz deyapti. O'rgatib berganimizdan keyin ular bemalol o'rganadi. Bu Odoo emas, u именно biznes proseslarni o'rgatib beradi. Faqat Odooda qilib ko'rsatish, laboratoriya ishini Odooda qilib ko'rsatish bo'ladi. Kelajakda u talabalar chiqib, именно shunchaki nimani o'rganib tugatding deganda, dasturlash tilini gina emas, именно biznes prosesini raqamlashtirishni o'rganib chiqqanini aytisha oladi bemalol. Ya'ni o'sha universitetlarda hozirda endi ko'p universitet o'quv markazlarida biz yetarlicha dasturlash tiliga e'tibor bergan ekanmiz-da. Dasturlash tilini zo'r bilishyapti, haqiqatda. Ya'ni hozir o'zidan so'rasak ham, masalan, o'zi experience-ni so'raymiz hali. Zo'r bilishadi, lekin ishga kirgandan keyin qanaqadir oliygohni bitirganda mana buncha bilimga ega bo'lsa, praktikada ishda mana bu yerda bilimda, o'rtada qanaqadir bo'shliq bor. Maqsad shu bo'shliqni to'ldirish hozir bizlarni UIC guruhni hamda Odoo tashkilotini. Ya'ni ishga kirguniga qadar biznesni boshqarish, biznesni raqamlashtirish, biznes proseslarini o'rganishni именно shu bilan o'rganadi va ishga kirganda bemalol tezroq tortib ketib, tezroq stajyor emas, o'sha tezroq oylikli ishga o'tishni harakatini qiladi. Bu nafaqat injener dasturchilar uchun, bu shunchaki PMlar uchun yoki shunchaki iqtisodchilar uchun yoki istalgan biznesda ishlash mumkin bo'lgan kasblar uchun to'g'ri keladigan modullari bor. Именно Kevinning holatida aynan o'zi biznes qilganligi uchun ham Odoo'ni bitta ko'radida, haqiqatda kerakli produkt ekanligini, kerakli produktni o'zi yoqtirib sotyapti-da. Ko'pincha sotuv bo'limlari shunchaki pul uchun sotsa, bu ham pul uchun bo'lsa ham mayli, zato yoqtirib, haqiqatda kerakli narsa ekan deb o'ylab sotyapti-da, shunchaki qanaqadir klientga sotishim kerak uchun. Kamdan kam sotuv bo'limlarida imенно shunaqa qiziqish va ehtiyoj parallel kelib qoladi. Imенно bularda shu narsa bo'lgan ekan. Qiziq holat. Ho'p, we can continue.
I think where we left off was databases.
All right.
Yeah. Like how we can work with universities and so on. But the main point here was that the Odoo course came from a need to meet the demand in the market, right? It all begins with businesses wanting to adopt the software. That's where it all begins.
There were specialists, but their skills were random, I guess.
And
right?
yeah, well, the specialists who were potential candidates for a lot of Odoo partners, they have background in IT, they have background in tech, but they didn't have that strong background in the Odoo software.
All right.
Yeah. And this is where we're looking at to hire people who have the Odoo knowledge in order to bypass the entire onboarding process. And because onboarding takes time, it takes money. For a business just to hire someone who knows the Odoo software and who they have Odoo projects that need to be implemented or developed, and someone comes in who already knows the software, it's like, man, this is what we have, let's start, right? That works way better than, okay, let me teach you the software for the next month, next 2 months, and then hopefully by that point you'll understand it well enough to take on this, right? So the tip of the spear for this entire initiative was demand in the market for Odoo. Because demand in the market for Odoo needed to be met by partners.
Yeah.
And partners, their demand were Odoo resources. And then universities also would like for many of their students to get hired.
Yeah.
Right? Now, that's where the initiative for the Odoo course came from, was to meet the needs of the partners and provide universities with the ability to have their students or increase the employability of their students, to also help students in general achieve a student certificate in the Odoo software, and also to have or gain an edge on other candidates who are applying to these positions in different companies, in different tech companies, but specifically within Odoo partners, it will provide them with the biggest advantage just by knowing the Odoo software. So by, bettering their future, increasing employability for universities, and increasing the number of high quality Odoo resources for partners, that's where it all came from. And we've had a lot of success so far. We started the education program in Dubai, which manages the entire education program in the entire MENA region, including now Central Asia, Turkey and Georgia and Central Asian countries. So in that time, we've developed over 35, even more now since I've been here in Uzbekistan, but we've developed over 35 partnerships with different universities in different countries. A lot of them will be implementing the Odoo course here in the next semester in the fall.
Really?
Yeah, we just finished the course this spring, and we've been in talks with universities since February about the Odoo course, and we're working with a lot of professors this summer to get them onboarded on the Odoo software, providing them workshops, providing them resources to learn the software, so that they are at a high enough level of proficiency in the software in order to teach the course this fall. So what we're going to see is that partners by November and December will have Odoo resources who would have passed the Odoo course and who are at a high level of proficiency in the software to hire. One thing I wanted to mention was the Odoo student diploma, which is a student certificate on the Odoo software that students can obtain by taking the Odoo course, and it's exclusively given to students who have taken the Odoo course. You need to pass the course that is provided by the instructor at the university, and once you pass that, you're given the chance to take the student certificate, which is a free certificate. It's a free diploma. The exam is about 80 or so questions, and after that, there is a world of opportunity that can open up for you with that certificate.
Is the exam difficult?
If you pass the Odoo course, I mean, of course, no exam is going to be easy. So you need to pay attention to that class.
Okay. And after graduation, students will get the diploma from university and certification from Odoo.
Correct.
Separately.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. So when they go up for job opportunities,
Odoo
they say,
certified
"Hey, look,
engineers."
yeah, exactly. I have a student certification in the Odoo software given to me by being able to pass the Odoo course, and obtaining this level of proficiency in the software and so on." So it's going to give them a nice edge in the job market.
That's great.
Also, we have to add that if you have a certificate from Odoo, you can get a job in Uzbekistan also from official partner, UIC Group.
Correct.
And also, I saw on the Upwork that Odoo professionals, Odoo certified developers can get up to $70 per hour.
Yeah.
And in average, they get $25-30 an hour in freelance platform.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Learning the Odoo software in terms of the back end is a very, very valuable skill. The Odoo course, I should clarify just for the audience, the Odoo course is a functional course, so it's going to provide you with the knowledge on how Odoo works on the front end. But we do have documentation as well on how Odoo works in the back end as well, because it is a very, very valuable career path as well. Being a software developer and understanding how Odoo code and the Odoo platform is created. I don't know much about the coding side, which is why my vocabulary in that area isn't so deep. But in general, I think that if someone who is interested in coding would like to learn the Odoo software, there are resources for them to do so. and there is a lot of I would say, promising opportunities for them in the future.
Is there an opportunity to learn, or I don't know, to get an experience and to learn basically on Odoo platforms in Dubai, in your headquarters?
Can you repeat the question?
Is there an opportunity to gain that experience, that Odoo experience in your office? I mean, in Dubai Odoo office.
Yeah, so that's a good question. We work with a lot of universities in Dubai where we actually bring their students over to our office. So it just depends on where you're at and which university you're with.
So currently you're like, basically that's an opportunity for Dubai guys, right?
Yeah,
Mostly.
Yeah, mostly. Now there is something called Odoo Academy, which is open to the public.
Odoo Academy.
Yeah, and these are actually workshops held in our office for people who want to learn the Odoo software for their business. Maybe it's someone who's in IT. They want to discover, okay, is the Odoo software going to be worth it for the company I work for? And, the CEO for the company, they can attend the workshop, treat it as a Q&A session, and during that workshop, the Odoo team will actually provide live demonstrations on the software in order to answer their questions and provide the people with a clear picture of what the software can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there is a question. What about the Odoo core team, development team?
Okay.
How big is it?
Oh, it's pretty big, but I don't know too much on that area. Because the Odoo development team, the research and development team, they're located in Belgium. As far as I understand.
In the core team.
Yeah,
But
as far as I
around
understand.
the world, Odoo have 19 offices, right?
Yeah. We have
In
offices
19
worldwide.
offices, we have,
19?
Odoo have a
Development teams.
development teams also.
Yes.
I saw some statistics. Let's have some statistics from
Sure.
site Odoo.com to show the Odoo how big is it.
Yeah,
and
these are
how
also going to help me.
Odoo community big. Let's have some numbers in Odoo community. There is a how many people we have? There is
really
23 more than 23,000
Developers.
developers are committing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And more than 12 million users are using currently Odoo system.
Yeah.
This is big enough numbers, and all of the code is open source, and everyone who want to fork and continue the development, it's public.
Yeah. And those 22,000 developers, they've created 44,000 different applications.
Yeah.
Or
More than
45,000 plus.
Yes.
Can I ask one thing?
Yeah, sure.
How does Odoo make money out of that?
Sure. Well, it becomes more appealing for different businesses to be able to purchase different applications that can be integrated directly into their Odoo database in order to make it more tailored to their business processes.
All right.
Because, at the end of the day, Odoo is a piece of putty. Okay. Now, there's a business here and a business here. They're completely different. This one's maybe a pharmacy, and this one is maybe a tire shop, right? They have different processes, different services, different products in general. But each one will adopt Odoo software. But we cannot say that Odoo will be used in the exact same way as we cannot say that Odoo will be used in the same way by both companies. Each company, because they have their own different operations and everything, they need to be able to change Odoo. So,
Adapt.
yeah, exactly, adapt. Now, when company A comes to Odoo and purchases the product, it's given to them in a package, and then from there, depending on the processes and the unique business procedures in that company, we can then mold that software Odoo to fit their unique business.
So
And the same thing with all the other businesses and all the other industries.
I got it.
Yeah.
So the point of like promoting this Odoo education program is just for the sake of creating an impact and creating like enlarging the auditorium or audience that is interacting with Odoo, or what? Is there any like what's the point of like even trying to create that impact on people
Sure. So
by Odoo? Is there any like I don't know, profit purpose or
in the education program,
Yeah.
no, the entire education program is free.
just for
right?
the sake of impact?
Yeah, impact. It's
Alright.
it's a long-term brand awareness campaign.
All right.
But at the same time, it is providing a resource for people to learn about ERP because not enough people know that it exists. So in general, people need to know about ERP systems,
Okay.
right? And not only just about Odoo, but the software capability in general for all ERPs. Not many people even know about it. But I would say from the education department at Odoo standpoint, this is a long-term brand awareness campaign that is providing people free resources to actually learn the software. A lot of companies actually do many things for educational institutions, schools, universities,
Yep.
because these are the new generations, you know. So I think when from a marketing standpoint, it's great. From an education standpoint, it's great. From a student standpoint, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Free training, possibility of getting certified, with the possibility of getting employment opportunities, with knowledge on how to run a business in a more efficient way. From a professor standpoint, enhances their classes, enhances their students' learning experience in general.
All right.
And from a university, makes it their curriculum more appealing because they're providing something that not all university will be able to provide. And I think just having that edge by saying, yeah, we have a strong program on ERP systems, which is the future of business in general, is a very, very strong stance to come from.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
That's good.
And there's a question, what if students, developers learn Odoo in Uzbekistan, and if we bring to Uzbekistan the Odoo more popular, what Uzbekistan people, developers, business can get? What the future of Odoo in Uzbekistan? What do you see?
Well, for starters, Uzbekistan is a rising economy. There's going to be tons of opportunity here for the new generation. And I think at the core of that is softwares, is technology, right?
Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
But, are those your thoughts or analysis or something like that?
No, those are my thoughts.
All right.
Yeah. Those are, I would say those are the thoughts I've developed since I've been here.
All right.
Learning everything that I have so far, asking people what the economy is like here, what the future plans are like here. For example, right, I got a really good sense of where this country is going.
All right.
I'm understanding that its leadership is putting the country on a path to becoming a major,
That's a great point.
a major exporter. So, and it all begins with the leadership. And if the leadership is thinking that way, soon enough, the company is going to be operating that way.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully, because, having a company or having a country that is operating from an exporter standpoint is a very strong position to be in. I think countries that operate from an import dependent standpoint is a very difficult place to be. So, kudos to those leaders. That means,
We're opening the gates. To keep it simple.
Kudos just means good for them.
Yeah, I know.
For taking that position. So now taking that in consideration, the path forward is going to be, I think, a very strong business centered path where there's going to be lots of opportunity for students to take advantage of, whether it is to open up their own businesses, incentives to open up their own businesses, I imagine. Working in companies that are hiring left, right, and center because of growing demand.
Yeah.
Right? And so at the core of that, at the core of this